everyone. This is Kathy Mason from MasonWorks Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone. Today with my friend Trish Laham. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, Trish, you might not remember, but I was at your house, I don't know, 4 years ago or something. Trish lives with Daryl in a beautiful area where wildlife comes up to their backyard, and it's just magnificent views. Here in Colorado, she's a little north, she's a little south of me. But today we're going to talk about everybody is psychic, and
Everybody is psychic.
I'm excited to hear about this because I was very uncomfortable claiming that, saying I'm psychic and intuitive until I wasn't.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's like, they're going to put me away or put me on drugs if I say that. So, not of
That
my.
is what happens at times, isn't it?
So Trish, why don't you share your journey, because you've really refined this art of human potential, is what I would call it, to a different level. So could you talk a little bit about your journey to knowing everybody is psychic?
I sure can. And first, I do want to say, when we say everyone is psychic, psychic to us means you're of spirit, that there is more than just the 2D and 3D world, and just really knowing energies. And so my journey, we went to church. I had a grandfather who was a UCC minister and was always bringing up other religions and other studies. And my parents actually were open to the idea that there were other energies. We were growing up, it was big on affirmations and the energy behind words. And yes, there was a lot of growth, but there was also a lot of acceptance. My brothers and sisters all have really unique experiences and stories to tell. And I went off to college, thought I should be an accountant, a business major, and realized psychology was where it was at. And there was a gentleman that came in who was a brain behavior. That was before, I think, the term neuropsych was really out there. And he came in and taught this brain behavior class. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. What is this whole thinking and mind? And what else is there? And how do, these affirmations, how do they work? And from that, it led me to just a path, right? We all are on a path learning, and, we get bumped and geared and changed. And, sometimes we hit some walls. But I ended up going to grad school in psychology. That's where I met actually Daryl. And I studied pediatric neuropsychology in a sense, and measurement, educational psychology. I got my master's. I took my orals and writtens, but didn't finish that PhD. But I went on and I ended up studying a lot of different energy psychologies, is what I would call them. And, it was just a path where I kept seeking and kept reading. I'm a reader. I love to read, got connected to different, the big name people. And I just followed that path that led me to Psychic Horizon Center, which I am now the co-director with my business partner, Katie Heldman. And, I was teaching, and then I became a co-director and the head of a Church of Inner Light. And basically in learning at Psychic Horizon Center, I walked in the door, and what we're really about is everybody is psychic, and there's more to the world than what we can touch. And so I walked in the door, and, the basic class we have is, we call it How to Heal Yourself. And basically, we give you these tools to help define what is your energy and what is someone else's, and waking up your awareness within you of why you do things you do, and kind of taking responsibility for your own path in a sense and your own words. And so it's as if, these tools help you kind of know what's your energy and what's not. When you're in a situation and you're having a perfectly fine day and someone comes up to you or your spouse or someone and they're angry about something, and all of a sudden you're angry and you were perfectly fine and you're not really angry what they're angry about, but all of a sudden you're irritated and angry. What is that exchange? There's some sort of energy that's going on there to make you kind of go, whoa, okay, wait a minute. Is this mine? Why did I get triggered by what that person said? And so that's kind of how it, some of that stuff is really having the awareness so you can be conscious of making your own choices and knowing what's yours and what isn't yours. And I know you mentioned, Kathy, the whole, I'm psychic and I'm intuitive, which is beautiful. And, one of the things we teach is actually how to read clairvoyantly, which is clairvoyantly is your ability to see. And, there's all of these different clairs that you guys might have heard about. Clairsentient is really feeling, reading and feelings. And I was huge clairsentient. I would walk into a room and I could just feel the energy. I didn't really know that that's what I was doing. And if I was in a big space, by the end, and I would watch the audience, and I would be like, oh, that person, is really in pain and has back pain. And I would be, I could just feel people's pain, but I don't want to take that on. Right. And I didn't know how to be like, wait a minute, that's not mine. And understanding, we teach you how to read clairvoyantly, which is, reading from your 7th to your 6th. So your knowingness, your neutrality, your certainty, and then reading out. So when I read people, I can just neutrally, with no judgment, just see their energy and see what's going on. And there's a whole, I can tell you some stories, Kathy.
Oh, I want you.
Will.
I want you to. So how is clairsentience different than being an empath? Because I really think in this evolution of our species, everyone's going to become an empath, and that's what's going to help us evolve. How is it different than being an empath? Because that it seems like those are very similar.
I 100% agree, Kathy. And, I'm going to tell you some stuff today, but tomorrow I might tell you something different. And that's part of the learning. Like, we're all in this school and I'm constantly learning. But for me, well, clairsentient. So we all talk about clairsentient. And the way that I see it is there's basically equipment. And when I talk about equipment and I'm talking about energy, I'm really talking about energetic anatomies. Can you as a doctor go in and go, oh, I see it, like you might see the adrenal glands? No, but there's this equipment that we call the clairsentient equipment, and it's all about the clairsentient ability to sense people and sense their emotions and take on and read people that way. That person's angry, that person's happy, that person's the other emotions out there, joyful, that person's excited, that person's angry. And and so kind of like out there just reading. And yeah, you might see someone happy, but that is kind of what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about there's something more. If you walked in a room blindfolded and just sensed the energy, could you feel emotions? And that's kind of clairsentient. Now, empathy, I agree, Kathy, 100% that there is, can you really separate them? And empathy to me is, sometimes I see it more in our heart space. And it's more, sometimes I have, I think everyone can be truly sensitive, right? And learning how to not take on all that energy. And empathy, I have I have I have 3 children, beautiful children. And one, I noticed that people are drawn to just hang with him. Even as a baby, they wanted to, everybody wants to hold a baby, but he just incorporates people, just feels better around him. And he kind of and he takes on people's pain, and he's gotten better. But that is empathy in a sense, if that makes sense, truly feeling what other people are feeling and actually making them feel good.
Right.
So I
Well,
know it's subtle, and
yeah.
like I said, tomorrow I might be telling you something completely different.
Well, the reason I ask is I have a friend, Jade Rader, who does these things called clears, and it's all capital letters, and it starts with a K, so they're magical. And she's a highly sensitive empath, and so she had to come up with these tools that she could navigate because she's a mom. She has a partner. She was married. She has a partner now, and all this stuff happens, and you want to support and love other people and help them, be the mirror to help them see their divinity, but you don't want to take it on. And I think that's true for healers as well. You don't want to be the surrogate, but the thing is the more that we actually sense how we're affecting the other person, the more peace we can have in this world, because it's you. There's not as
Yeah,
much
yeah,
separation, right?
yeah. Well, one of the things we teach at Psychic Horizon, and there are beautiful tools out there, and every tool I think works if it works for you, and if but sometimes it takes practice, and the tools that we teach really teach you to be in your body and present. And actually, we use something called separation roses, and that helps you, that those rows collect other people's energy, so you can have more definition between what's yours and what's theirs. But the beautiful thing in our classes is we're teaching you to really own your space, so that when we do readings or even healings, we're coming from a non-judgmental, neutral way. So we're not taking on your energy and trying to heal you by taking your energy on. And so we can, we might feel like crap, but you feel a lot better. And they're not learning really healing. They're kind of need you right at that point. So what we're really trying to do is to teach you to recognize your own, what's yours and what did you just take on, so that you can clear it. And one of the reasons is we set up our space. I set up my space every day, and before this talk, where I am running my energy, and we call it earth and cosmic energy. That validates our body, and that which validates our spirit. And they're very neutral. So they just are running. So they're constantly clearing. So when I have say you and I, Kathy and I have a big fight, and she's just making me mad, at least I can start clearing my energy, so I can be like, oh, wait a minute. Why did I get so lit up about that? What was it in me that I matched,
Perfect.
that she said? So it's starting to really recognize that. And when I do readings, I hear and even as a teacher, I hear some pretty intense stories. And if I was always taking that on and going, oh my gosh, I feel your pain. Oh my God, I can't believe you're still here, but by holding my space, like you said, holding space for people is not trying to control them. It's about you, in some ways, bringing your love and light and saying, look what you can have. Here I am, here it is. And
Right.
they can choose to match that, instead of me saying, you need my love and light, damn it.
Well, I
My
think
language.
No, that's fine. Okay, so lots of people are having wake up calls, whether it's a Kundalini awakening or a near death experience or spiritually transformative experiences. And it sounds like a lot of what you're teaching is the path to integration, because a Kundalini experience for a lot of people shatters their whole experience. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, the road to integration, or something about integration? Because I think what we're seeing right now in the world is the opportunity to drop your story and see how you best serve. But you can't serve if you're in fear, if you're fractured, if you can't see what's really in front of you. And so many of us, I'm going to say one more thing. I think many of the gifted people here, including me, haven't been in our body for very long. Every time something happened, whoop, out. But you saw what was going on down there, but you weren't totally there. So that's the same thing with that integration of a Kundalini experience or a wild awakening. And then I'll ask you another question about that. But could you talk about that? Because I imagine you get lots of people that are looking for integration.
Well, yeah. So, first of all, one of the things I love about what I do is I get to hear some amazing stories from people and having experience. And it's so funny, Kathy. One of the classes I teach is our graduate level classes, and we spent a full 4 weeks in teaching and talking about Kundalini and running our Kundalini with awareness and consciousness. So, just thought I'd do a little side.
Yeah, thank you.
There. But so people have experiences, and like you said, they have their stories. And one of the things to integration is, you have this body for a reason, right? You are a spirit with this beautiful body. This body is on a journey. And so one of the things that helps, and it's not comfortable, is to become fully in your body. And so, you get grounded, and the more grounded you are, the more present you are, and the more that your chakras, then, I'm talking chakras, and those that don't know chakras, energy sources that have different wisdom within them, but aligning them. And some are very associated more with body, some are more associated with spirit. But by aligning them and being fully in your body, you get a connection to the greater. And by coming into your body, unfortunately, you get the opportunity to work through those stories and work through your pain. It isn't always comfortable, is it, being in your body? And we all have been out of our body. We all, maybe we've had some heinous experiences where it was safer to be out of your body. But to integrate, it's welcoming yourself and realizing, oh, wait, to be fully in your body, to feel the pain and to feel that, and to let it go, so that, and to understand what you have control of and what you don't, what is yours and what isn't. And so that integration is about coming fully into your body and then connecting so that you have all your information, if that makes sense. And you can ask me a question, but the interesting thing, so we spend, we teach you these tools, and then we spend a whole year, if you continue, of course, and it's called the Clairvoyant Program, where we're teaching you how to read. And how to read is a beautiful gift, is because when you read other people, it's a gift for yourself, because you see some matching pictures and you see, like, oh, where do I have that in me? And you get to clear it for you, which is a gift. Because you know how when you're hearing your story and people are like, Trish, you really need to work on this. And you're like, what are you talking about? Because you're in it. You don't see it. So the ability to see it on others gives you an opportunity to kind of clear that. And so we spent basically 2 years getting you fully in your body and recognizing what's yours and integrating things that has happened to you, and but really understanding what is your truth. And I might tell you something as a teacher and you're like, no, that doesn't hold for me. And I'm like, okay, I'm not there to tell you how to think or how to be or how to integrate it in a sense, although I help you integrate. Um, and then if you enjoy it, then we have a whole TM program, which is transmedium, which actually you come out of your body, but we want you fully in your body so you're comfortable and you understand what is your energy and what are other people's energy, so that you have seniority. You have your own seniority. And the TM, we actually take it as far as it's a 4-year program, and by the 4th year, you're channeling other beings, but you have seniority at all times, and that's the beauty. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, it did a lot. Well, what I'm actually thinking about is that as these energies, the solar energies, are activating and causing everything on Earth, every living thing or animate, inanimate thing, to actually shift to a potential of a higher energy, higher frequency. And that makes all of this stuff that's lower frequency show up to, like, hi, I'm still here. Yeah, you thought you got rid of me, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
And since a lot of the people that are here on watching the show read books, they may take some courses, they may be wanting to learn how to read so they can serve better, but they also are working on themselves because they want to facilitate change. I believe business is one of the fastest ways that we can change and evolve humanity. So, because each business touches so many people. So that's where, if I was a small business owner, I wouldn't want to read 100 books like you did. I would be able to probably manage a class a week, or two maybe a week. But what would you say if I was a small business owner and I was looking to use these skills to help in my business? And if you have any examples of that, that would be great.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, we get all walks of life in our program, and so a lot of small business owners to professors to lawyers and doctors and tons of students and people who are just curious. And the tools that we have, so in businesses, you probably interact with a lot of people. You might have business meetings or all the other stuff that goes with it, but you're always interacting with energies. And so the tools that we teach, and we actually have a whole house healing program, which actually has a business component. But the tools is, how do you hold the space so when you walk into a room, and say you're a small business owner and you're meeting with someone who you're hoping might invest in you, and that person's had a bad day because maybe something happened in their family. You have no idea where people are coming from. And so for you to be able to hold your space and recognize what's yours, so you have clarity in presenting your information and your own knowingness of what you want, in a sense. And so and recognizing, oh, that person's have a bad day, instead of taking that on and going, oh gosh, this isn't going to work, he's in a bad mood, I can't do this, is you get to recognize, like, oh, here we are sitting at a table, and we do a lot of grounding. Like, I ground rooms, and when I have meetings, I don't ground individual people because I believe in free will and everybody should be able to not be in their body or be in their body, or ground or not ground. But I might ground a room so that energy can move. And so the presentation in a at a table business meeting, the energy has somewhere to go. So I'm not taking everything on, and then I can't understand and I can't be clear in my thoughts because I've taken on this guy's energy or this woman's energy. So that's, in some ways, it helps.
Right. Well, that whole construct of having to try to control your
Yeah.
environment is really exhausting, and it's a fear response. You cannot be in love and try to control everything. Somewhere you have to surrender all of it to
And
be fully in service.
I know you talked about, the lower vibration and higher vibration and that kind of thing. And, I ask you how, to hold that high vibration of, say, let's say, love or enthusiasm or amusement. Um, you know, but then your world is showing you these lower vibration and you come down, right? So how do you hold your space while everything's around you, and how do you not match it? And that's where you have to really start being aware and going, wow, I just matched that really angry person at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And how do you wake up in the morning? And one of the things, beautiful gift is, do you wake up in the morning and like your caption when we first began, you had like you had a saying like word is energy, or
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Energize.
how do you wake up in the morning? Do you go, oh, it's raining, this is going to be a crappy day, I I don't want to be doing what I'm doing? And that's going to set your energy for that day, and you'll be like, I'm going to have a crappy day all day. And I invite you to look at that and go, wait, what is the language I'm telling myself in the morning? How am I setting up my day? And to recognize, like, when you say, I'm going to have a crappy day for the rest of my day, really? Something happened in this moment, and you've decided that the rest of the day is going to be crappy. And that is 100%. You can do that. And I am not perfect. I connect to energies, and then sometimes I'm like, wow, why did I react the way I did? Or why did I do that? But now I have a lot more awareness of, like, okay, Trish, you can decide to continue on this path, or you can say, you know what, my day doesn't have to be crappy.
Right. Well, yeah, I think that's part of this whole mastery of what you're doing in human form, is to be able to see everything as a potential gift, everything as a learning experience, and then build from that. But
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about you being a mom. Um, do your kids, because between you and Daryl is brilliant man, and very sensitive to energies and frequencies, light and sound, and very creative. So are your you have three kids, are any of them following in your footstep, or do they all go, what are you guys doing?
Well, they're all on their own path, and sometimes I hear them say words that I would have maybe said, where I'm like, right on. But they're and Daryl and I joke. So, like she mentioned, Daryl, we met in grad school, and he went on to get his PhD in cognitive science and psychology. So we speak a lot of the same language. And we joked when we had three kids. We had one as the control, one as our experiment, well, but they are on their own paths for sure. I mean, they have us there, and I speak because I am who I am. um, I would say they all have this intuitiveness for sure, and this awareness, and making them aware of it. One's, one of our kids is works in forestry and just works the land, and she's just got some beauty. Our middle child right now is a poet and a philosopher, and he's reading Alan Watts and Jungian and different old time philosophers. And he, he's out traveling the world right now. He's been all over the place right now. He's 20 years old. He wrote a poetry book. It's on Amazon. But he, right now, as he's discovering the world, I love it because he says to me, Kathy, hey, Mom, you were right. When you were telling me about blah, 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 some energy work or phrases or, how can you be present? So yes, short answer of what you asked is they are and they aren't. They also roll their eyes. We have they also are on their own path. So they're trying to figure it out. So I'm trying to get out of their way too and not be like, you should really do this or do that. Because I know all the answers for them, don't I? Because I'm a mom. Well, I'm joking about that.
Yes, I know. I only have one child, and she's not following in my footsteps. She rejected. Although I see a lot of her. A lot of times, she's a wonderful girl, but I'm very proud of her. But yeah, no, you just sort of sit back and like. I have one brother that told me, "What are you doing with all this stuff?" And I said, "Well, you'll find out."
Yeah. And maybe I don't know either, right?
It's like, my brother, I'm number 4 out of 5, and my brother said, how could we all be so different? We grew up so close in age, and we all grew up in the same environment, but we're totally different, 5 kids in 7 years, and totally different.
Yeah, they all grew up in different families. I mean,
Right.
if you understand that concept, and if you look at the twin studies or people with transplants of organs, fascinating stuff out there about the energy around that. But my kids, hear me tell stories about just in my readings, and some like, and I'll be like, the coolest thing happened in this reading, and I'll share something. Or I've had intuition, some people call it your personal guidance system, right? Or that intuitiveness. And how do you clear up your energy? And that's kind of what we teach, is so that you can be more connected to that intuitive, that gut feeling that like, oh, I should take a left here, not a right. You have no idea, and you take the left and your life goes on. Maybe there was an accident that you avoided, but you have no idea, and you might never know why your intuitiveness is leading you. Kathy, I actually have a really powerful intuitive event that happened to me. Can I share?
Please share, please.
I've been doing this work a lot, and I had this day, it was in the afternoon, and I was going to the grocery store. I had my shoes on, my jacket on, my purse on, my keys were in my hand. I'm walking out the door, and I want to get it done so I can get back, right? And I stopped by Daryl's office, and I have my hand on the doorknob to go out the door, and I said, do you want anything? And he's like, no, I'm, whatever he said. But all of a sudden I heard, go sit down. And when I say I hear it, sometimes that intuitive just comes in this knowingness. And of course, my ego, or that part of me, is like, I don't want to sit. I want to go get this done. I got my jacket on, my purse on, my shoes on, my keys in my hand. I'm ready to go. And I just hear sit. So I go walk and I sit down in this chair in the where I never sit, and I'm just sitting there. And Daryl walks by. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm sitting. And I'm myself, right? I'm like, just get up and go. What are you doing? And I just am like, I'm sitting. And finally I'm fighting this thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get up and go. But Daryl walks by and he's like, play some ping pong with me. And at that point, we weren't playing during the day. And I was like, I don't want to play ping pong, but okay. So I play a game of ping pong, and I get into my car and I drive away. And unfortunately, fortunately for me, but unfortunately, we had a heinous guy that came into our local grocery store, which is about, my local grocery store, and shut up people. And if I had not heard sit, I would have been right there in the parking lot walking in that door.
Oh
Uh,
my God.
and so that's those kind of things where, and I didn't even know what was happening as I'm driving to the grocery store. Cops are just flying by me. Like 11 cops in a row flew by me, and then 20 cops. And I'm like, what's going on? And, I see that they're all piled up, and I decide to go the back route because I know how to get to the grocery store the back route. And then these guys in armors are like, no, you're not getting in this way, you lady. And I'm like, please, can I just go around? And they're like, no. Anyways, Kathy, that's where I had that knowingness to just, I got a message that said sit. I didn't know why.
Well, because your guides and your protection said it's not your time. Don't go to that story.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. And now Whole Foods is up there too. So, but wow. Yeah. No, that was very scary. That whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I got home and I just started bawling, right? Because I was like, I called Daryl and I'm like, what's happening? And so he got onto the news, but my kids were there and they saw me, and I'm like, I trusted that. And they're like, oh. But even beyond that, it's in the reading where I get, you get to, when you're doing a reading and you're in that clarity space and that neutral space and you're reading people's energy, you can see the muck in the stories and see where they're stuck. But really, it's about reminding them how brilliant and beautiful they are right underneath that.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know if you want to hear some of my
Okay, sure. Well, see, I think that's what all of this is about, is we're all here to reflect each other's divinity. And again, it's your worldview. If you think that this is a safe, trusting world and it's full of creativity and playground, you have that kind of experience. If you feel that it's fearful and everything's out to get you, you have that kind of experience. So that's what the people that usually come to your school want, to gain some sort of control or tool. They want tools
Yeah.
to learn how to express more of their own divinity.
Yeah, and fear, I believe fear, anger, sadness, happiness, all those are all experiences you're going to have. And I don't know how many of you guys or Kathy, where you just feel great, like life is humming, and all of a sudden you
Yeah.
hit that pothole. And it's you're going to hit, life is dynamic, right? It's going
Right.
to, things are going to happen, but for you to recognize and go, oh, I'm in this pothole. Okay, I don't have to take it on as the end all be all and this is my life. You can make choices and have an awareness of, oh yeah, so sometimes I get in fear,
Yeah.
uh, and I'm just like, wow, I connected, because we all have these core pictures of these energies, can I say, that we picked up when we were young, and maybe
Right.
and it's unconscious, these core pictures that might be, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, know what, and those kind of things. And how do we match that, and how do we kind of recognize, like, wait a minute, I am lovable. And so really, something you said earlier on made me think about, before you go out and heal the world, it's really about you healing yourself, healing the healer.
That's right.
So that if I'm feeling good, and if I'm in a really bad space and I'm, have a session with someone, it probably won't go as well as when I can kind of clear my energy so I am there for that person and neutral and running my own energy and in a sense showing them the possibility.
So what do you think about reincarnation? Do you go into that topic in the school? And I just did a wonderful interview with Kelvin Chin, who is a near-death experiencer. He's a lawyer and has 3 nonprofits. He helps a lot of people, parents that lose their children, and he remembers 6,000 years of his past lives. He
Wow.
there's only a couple of gaps in it. Yeah, it's like
Oh,
and there's a group of them that keep reincarnating together, and he found that through transcendental meditation. Back in his 20s, he started working with Maharishi, and Maharishi was one of the hubs that brought all these souls back. It really fascinating. But anyway, what is your concept of reincarnation?
yes.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
okay. So the question was that, and he said that there's a personality that's almost recognizable through the whole thing, and he calls it a personality. Would
yeah, yeah. Um, yes, we talk about past lives, and it's always fun because I'll have those students, or even in a reading, I might mention a past life, and who are like, "There's no such thing as past lives. There's no such thing." But with my experience and what we say is, these images come forward, these past lives come forward for a reason. And we always bring it to, why did this past life show up? So we do these free undergrad readings. So we have a whole undergrad program, and people come in for these free undergrad readings. And one of the things that they always get read are 2 past lives. And we ask the past lives to show up that are relevant. Why are these showing up for this person in this moment right now?
cool.
So we bring it back to, why is it relevant? And there's so much energy there. I mean, I was reading one woman who she was a lawyer, never done any reading, never have done any of this work. She came to me through someone else who knew me, and she's like, "All right, read me," kind of thing. And she was a lawyer, so she was very logical and, give me the facts. And I know I made a big generalizations about lawyers, so everybody blow those roses or blow that energy. But she, in it, she didn't really tell me much about her. I didn't know much about her. And I'm reading this, and all of a sudden, and there was a lot of guilt in her. And so we were clearing this, but all of a sudden, I got this imagery of a past life where she was a soldier and she was shooting, and she had her gun posted on her shoulder. So the kickback would hit her shoulder that I could see, and she was killing humans. Um, and I don't always share a degree of a past life, because some of the what I see, it's not necessary, but I got this, having this, like, share it with her. So I shared it with her, and by doing that, it released a ton of energy, right? And released a lot of her guilt that she had been carrying on. And this past life was probably, 4 past lives past. And here's this incident where I didn't know her. She all of a sudden released the energy around the guilt and shooting and having pain. What I didn't know, Kathy, is throughout her entire this life, she had pain in her shoulder. And
Wow.
she had surgery, and she had done, various things, and it never, it was always there. And after that, she never had any pain in her shoulder
Wow.
again. So just talking about past lives, yes, I believe in reincarnation. I believe we have a soul, and those souls do have a personality per se. And that, we choose this life, what we wanted to experience, what we wanted to learn. We all want to be on this earth school, right?
Yeah.
Learning what we're learning. And so, you know, I've seen many of my past lives, or I've had a lot of readings and whatnot, and people share different past lives, and they've always helped me just to better understand where I am in this moment, if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah, no, that's great. No, that was perfect. Thank you. Okay, so question about your readings. Because you teach people how to do this, but also do you find that you delight in validation like that, like her shoulder, like you saw that? I mean, there's something about it's like I didn't make it up. I
Oh, 100%. Our school, we really teach that you don't need the validation, right?
oh,
Because you're doing it for yourself, but there's nothing better, because it's fascinating to me, because I can't necessarily always prove what I'm doing. Here's and sometimes I just get information. Like, I was reading this woman who needed to have a really hard conversation with her aunt, and she wanted to know, when should she have this conversation and how's it going to go? And in the middle of this reading, I got 234, 234, and I'm like, what's 234? And she's like, I don't know. I'm meeting her Thursday at 5:00. So I'm like, okay, it's just showing up. I didn't know why. And I'm in that neutral space where it's just flowing. Well, she called me a couple days later, and her aunt had to cancel the meeting. And her aunt said, let's do 234. And she's like, so when she's like, my aunt never says that. But what she meant was, let's meet at 2:00 on March the 4th. So
wow.
234. And so that's where, sorry, I can't remember why I'm telling you this, but that's where the information just kind of flows. And sometimes you don't know why you're getting what you're getting.
Right, right.
You don't need to know. So validation is awesome. Like that, I got that phone call a couple days later. I'm like, that is great. That's so much fun to hear, isn't it? But
Yeah.
majority of times, I might never hear from the person again. We had a lovely time.
Wow. Okay. So do a lot of your students do just a section? We're going to show your website in a second, but is there a specific path that people go to learn mastery?
Yeah, typically what happens is we have a class called How to Heal Yourself, where we teach you all the tools that at that moment, once you have those tools, every class, we call it setting your space, getting here, where we run your energy. We use every tool, set your space and our classes are very, we don't lecture a lot. We have you experience it, because it's
Experiential.
really about your running your energy. So in meditation, so then we have How to Heal Yourself, and then from there we have an animal communication division
Oh,
taught by our beautiful Jolie Wingerson, who's been doing it for, I don't know, probably 40 years. We have and from there, once you have those tools, we have tons of workshops that anybody can join that are we have workshops probably once a month. But from there, you go to How to Read, which is the beginning of the clairvoyant program, which is a 13-month program, which is how to read. And How to Read then teaches you how we hold space and read clairvoyantly. And then from there, you're fully immersed in the core clairvoyant program, which is a year-long program. So every week there's class, a 2-hour class, either Monday morning or Monday night. And that's where you are running the energy. You might be working on expectation energy, or programming from your parents, or clearing out cultural, religion, government energies. You might do a thing on past life, one class on past life, one class on Kundalini, one class on um, beings. What kind of beings, connecting to beings, a class. But through it all, you're reading your fellow students. And then we have labs set up, 3 labs every week for readings that you're invited to go to. And the more you practice, the better you get. And we have healing clinics. So where you practice aura healings and chakra healings, working with actually your own healing master and your own psychic surgeon. So the path kind of goes that way. And then we have a peeling the onions, where you start really taking off layers. And right now, that's one of the classes I'm teaching, where it's a month of Kundalini. It's a month of owning your birth, releasing energy that happened during birth, from the inception all the way forward, or 8-week on astral travel.
Cool.
Akashic records, 8 weeks on the chakras. So, spiritual heal. I mean, there's so much, but then from there you might go to TM. But along the way too, we have animal communication. We have a minister's class, clearing out kind of all religion energy that might be in you, and to be able to do weddings and funerals and different things. We have teachers. We have ectoplasm classes.
Oh, cool.
We have house healing classes, program. We have women classes, men classes. But we also have these free healing clinics, free reading spaces for people who want to just experience what it would be like. We have, Katie and I do a church meditation one Sunday a month. We also have free meditations on Tuesday nights. We have
Wow. You guys are busy.
planetary healings, women clinics. So yeah, we've got a lot going on, but yes, knowing that how to heal, learning your tools, really, and you can do those on a 1-day accelerated Saturday, or 6 weeks on Mondays.
Wow. So tell, I'm going to show the website in a second, but tell if you could share some more responses or positive outcomes that have come from people doing these classes. I imagine they're a lot more successful in all areas of their lives. But do you have another story you could share with us?
When I'm thinking of just students, I mean, sometimes there's so many great stories. I'm just thinking which way I'm going to go. I mean, just as students in general, sometimes we're not a good fit for people, which we totally lovingly are okay with, in a sense. Of course we are. But what, we get so many positive responses for students in all walks of life. And one of the things that I often say are, this is better than therapy. Because you got to do the work. We're not there to do the work for you or or we're just kind of leading you, and you get to decide how much. But I've noticed that, they're holding their space better. So whether they do, it increases their whole awareness of their life they're leading, right? And so I'm trying to think of, it's just having yourself open up. I mean, I'm thinking of so many stories right now that I'm getting flooded, but one of the gifts too are those people that as a young kid who maybe it's the first time they are telling their stories, their near-death experience story. Or I know, Kathy, you and I have been to some of the same meetings, And people come up to me when they realize what I'm doing, and they are just wanting to share their story and be heard in a safe way. So
Right.
it's a safe sanctuary for all those sensitive things. And it also just clears up. I don't know why I'm going to tell you this story, Kathy, but I am. But I was grocery shopping, and it was the time when I wasn't really ever buying cereal. And all of a sudden I'm like, I got to go down the cereal aisle and I got to buy Raisin Bran. I put Raisin Bran into my cart and I drive home, and Daryl was like, oh, good, you got my message. And he had sent me that in narrow channel telepathy, I want some Raisin Bran. So I get to hear a lot of stories like that. And, I see, sometimes we see people, and sometimes I got to say, Kathy, every once in a while, there's someone who we're like, we think you need therapy.
Yeah.
Because there's so many beautiful things out there offered to people, and finding your fit. We're
Yeah.
here to learn and experience, right?
Yes. Yes. Well, I'm
And
sorry I put you on the spot like that. Let's share the screen and share the site so you can walk us a little bit through here, and I can scroll for us.
so
So
there's how, woo.
yeah.
The clairvoyant training. I mean, you guys can read this too, I guess. There's
Well,
the
this
various.
is psychichorizoncenter.org, and I did put it in the comments. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah. And we have this donation online giving. We give to a lot of our community. Some people who are not in our community, we try to provide. We offer sometimes scholarships, because if you're wanting to really do it, we want to try to make that happen for you. We also have a whole ministers team. So if you're going into surgery or you're dealing with some issues, we have whole teams that'll hold space for you. You may never contact those people, but knowing that in their meditation, they are holding space for you for that surgery or for your events. We have a lot of audio recordings you can, and our beautiful Lynn Swearingen is in charge of our audio stuff. And so she changes out what's available. So we have the featured classes. We have a whole calendar of events. We pretty much have something going on almost every day of the week. There's around 20 plus or minus teachers around. And sometimes I must say our calendar doesn't work. So
It did work. It worked just fine. So, well, the thing is, it's a highly active, highly functioning opportunity for people to be empowered.
Yeah, and we've been around for 30 years.
Yeah, 1994. That's amazing right there. So, okay, so right there it says classes and events on Zoom. So tell us a little bit about how this works if you can't be in person, and how you could help people from all over the world, really, if they're in the time slot, by doing the work on Zoom. Could you explain a little bit about that, please?
Well, yeah, I mean, we were full in person only up until COVID. And then we went to the Zoom world, like so many of us. And now we're fully Zoom. We do a couple in-person events and whatnot, but we're pretty much in Zoom. So basically, we're holding classes in Zoom. We're doing our healing clinics. We're doing our readings all through Zoom. And you're right, Kathy. We have students from around the world. We have students from Japan, Brazil, Belgium, India, and many more. And so when you're asking about how we use Zoom, are you Is
Well,
that what you wanted
well,
or
I
something more?
wanted, yeah, then that's what I wanted. I wanted to let people know that however you're seeing this, if you, this is a chance for you to be empowered, increase your toolkit, and also be part of a community of other bright lights that are working towards making the world a better place, and not projecting their wounds on other people, but trying to heal their own wounds so they can be better humans. And this is a great opportunity for everyone in our society right now. The more connected we are through the internet, through reality crafting, the better, as far as I can see. That's part of it. And the other part I'd like to say is we forgot how powerful we are, and this is one of the ways to reclaim that power.
Yeah, yeah. So it's, we teach in kindergarten amusement and neutrality. And kindergarten is all about being curious and playful and being open to making mistakes and being willing. And that's part of like the we invite you to come in and just be curious. And you're not always going to like it. 100%. You're going to want to quit at times. And that's when it gets juicy. One of the things we offer to our students, Kathy, is we do energy checks every month with one of our staff members. So everybody gets 30 minutes of an energy check to seeing why are you being so lit up all the time from Trish when she's teaching? Blah, blah, blah. I had a student the other day was like, Trish, you lit me so much and I wanted to quit. But holding that space for her in amusement, kindergarten, and neutrality, she's like, and she just started laughing because she realized it was all her own pictures.
Of course, of course. But there really aren't very many places that allow you to clear like this. So I really want to encourage everyone to go to psychichorizonscenter.org. And is there anything else you'd like to, we're out of time. So any
Yeah.
other thing you'd like to share?
No, just thank you so much
Oh,
and
sure.
enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes. Well, thank you, everybody. Please share this if this is something that you feel could help the people in your life live a happier, healthier life. So thank you, Trish. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Kathy.